I'm going to speak on behalf of golf here. We just want to put our best foot forward, and that is currently not happening. At the very least, you want to try to have the best field so you can try to have the best ratings. That, in the current system, is not happening.
Foreplay, as always, presented by Barstool Sports. We have the whole squad today: Trent Ryan, Frank Borelli III, Dan Rappaport from Full Swing, and myself. There's a lot to get to. We still have to debrief from the Anthony Kim situation. We obviously had Luke Kwan on the Tuesday show, so that kind of dominated a lot of our conversation, which was great. We love Luke Kwan. He filmed a bunch of stuff at the Barstool Classic, so he's the man. But we got Anthony Kim to respond to. We've got Tiger Woods reports that are coming out that are maybe the most North Korean thing that I've ever seen in my life, which I love. We got Live Golf and official World Golf Rankings drama like we've probably never seen before. We got Barstool Classic, which I'd like to talk about. We got PGA Tour investors from LeBron to Drake. We got golf gambling stuff that people are harping about. So we got a lot to get to, and we're going to do closest to the pin and from the gallery. So it's going to be a big show. I would like to start quickly with this Brad Faxon stuff and Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, I don't know that you could possibly have a show, a media entity in the world that is more pro Tiger Woods than this group right here. Yet I don't think if you gave us the mission of doing a parody about how positive we could be about a random Tiger Woods playing in a private club's pro member, that we could have delivered something like Brad Faxon delivered to the world yesterday. He said, and I quote, "Everybody that saw Tiger play said he hit it just absolutely down the middle of the golf course. He hit a 5-wood on a par 5 15th hole, and I guess he flew it about 256 yards in the air, and it stopped 1 inch from the hole for a tap-in eagle. Some people were just in awe of being able to see him play. He walked, but he could have taken a cart if he wanted to." Brad Faxon, welcome to the team, because that is maybe is the most outrageous quote I've ever seen.
Fifth Mike, Brad Faxon? You looking for
they finished tied for 44th. They finished tied for 44th gross.
I mean,
out of like 70 teams. What are we talking about here?
That is just good stuff from Mr. Faxon. When he said that the people there were just in awe of being able to see Tiger, I mean, they got every pro in the world out there hitting shots undoubtedly better than Tiger Woods was hitting them, but these people were just in awe of Tiger Woods. I loved it. I'm all in on the hype, and I like Tiger Woods, pro Tiger Woods outrageous comments. So big shout out to Brad Faxon.
Shout out to Brad Faxon. I can't wait to see Tiger Woods when he doesn't have the shits. It sounds like he's an amazing golfer when he's not on a golf course about to shit himself. So seems like the back is good, the knee is good, the head is good. It's, we're all in a good spot, and shout out to Brad Faxon. We really love to hear a glowing review of Tiger Woods, and I can't wait to see him play. I don't know what he's going to play next, but I can't wait.
Pre-Tiger shitting his pants, he was making a ton of birdies. He was making a ton of birdies, a lot of bogeys, but the guy's game is still there. And you know what? I'm not going to throw any stones at Brad, and we love Brad for this. He's obviously our fifth mic at this point. But if you're in that scenario and you're watching Tiger Woods, if he is hitting the ball to an inch, you're tweeting about it. This guy generates that type of hype if he walks into a fucking Starbucks and grabs a coffee. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is, no matter what he does, it's tweet worthy. So anyone that's saying that this guy is like gawking over Tiger or get off your knees, Brad Faxon, come on, man. If you're watching this guy peel balls around trees and hit a ball 255 yards to an inch, you're going to fucking tell the world about it.
Dude, fifth Mike Faxon basically did what Tiger Tracker had been doing for years, where it was when the TV coverage was a mess, which it still is, and you couldn't watch him, Tiger Tracker would describe every single shot that Tiger hit and would be excited about it. So there's a market for it.
For accuracy's sake, Frank, he couldn't have been peeling them around trees, because as Mr. Faxon said, he hit it just absolutely down the middle of the golf course. So there's just no way for that.
If PGA Tour events were 18-hole pro members at Seminole Golf Club, I'd be super excited for Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
he would be top 10 in the world probably.
So we got to think this guy's playing the Players Championship next week. Do you have anybody heard anything, any whispers?
Yeah, he's playing. I haven't heard anything, but I think he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume he is playing. I don't know. He always leaves it till the end, because the Players has been doing this thing where they tweet when like a guy commits, and which is weird because like if you're trying to be a major championship, don't like throw a tweet being like Tommy Fleetwood is committed to the play. It's like obviously no shit he's going to play in the Players, but they haven't said anything about Tiger, and you'd think that they would definitely hype that up. So the deadline is always Friday 5 p.m. of the week before, so he might down to the wire. But yeah, why would he play in the Seminole Pro-Am if he's not at least planning to play?
And again, according to Mr. Faxon, could easily take it a cart, but he decided to walk. So I think that he's got to be feeling good, looking good. And a big thanks to Brad Faxon for digging deep and getting all those reports out there and just being as honest as he could be. So I'm excited for Tiger Woods. I think he's going to play the Players Championship. He's got to get those reps in, and he has basically played no golf because he played one round and then shit himself and had to leave with ambulance trucks all over the place, paramedics trucks all over the place. So anyways, that was Tiger Woods stuff.
It's like when Trump had that health report, and they were like, he's actually 180 pounds and he has the healthiest heart in America. And everyone's just like, well, that's impossible. We see his weight, like he's on TV all the time. Like, no, he's actually like 200 pounds on the dot.
I think what they say, picture of health.
Yeah, picture.
Yeah, we love that.
Cars.com, baby. They've been doing it for 25 years. You got to have a car. You just got to have a car. It's a big adult thing to do. It's a 2024 thing to do. You know, for thousands and thousands of years, we didn't have cars. Took people weeks to go places that you could just go in a couple hours now in a car. You can just commute to work, drive, hop, take your kids to soccer practice, hockey practice, golf practice, whatever it might be. You got to have a car. It's a huge part of your family. It's a huge part of your personality. Cars.com, over 2 million possibilities. Cars.com is going to help you make the right choice.
It's a great feeling. It's also just fun to go look. Even if you got one or you're looking for one, whatever situation you're in, don't need one. You just want to go look. Cars.com, check out what's there, mess around, see what you want, see what you like. There's just so many cars on there. You're going to find something you like. I guarantee it.
Well, whether it's family, whether you live individually, whether it's for work, road trips that you like to do a lot. Maybe you guys like to go hiking, fishing. You need more of an outdoorsy vehicle. They got up to 50,000 cars are added daily to cars.com. So you could shop over 2 million cars for 2 million possibilities. Find your next possibility on cars.com. Where to next? Anthony Kim. We never did really a full debrief. I would say the Fore Play podcast nailed this one about as much as you could nail it. We were getting a lot of shit from some of our clips that went out leading up to the Anthony Kim thing. I think one of our takes that we had a month or 2 months or so ago was essentially that Anthony Kim and the mystique around him and the aura that he has created by being this Bigfoot type character that disappeared for 12 years is really made the Anthony Kim legacy more so than Anthony Kim's play and even his antics on the golf course. It wasn't like he was out there like Tyrrell Hatton slamming clubs and being a lunatic on the golf course. He won 3 times. You know, he was big in the Ryder Cup. He was one of the better players in the world for a little stretch there, but it wasn't like he was clearly Tiger Woods or Jordan Spieth like entrance on the PGA Tour and then all of a sudden disappeared. He had a pretty good run, whatever. And basically said, like, Anthony Kim just being out there and being alive and playing is going to be interesting for a day or two. But at the end of the day, he's like, if he could play golf and contend, this will kind of keep this storyline driving and going. If it doesn't, then, you know, I don't know that it's going to be that big of a deal. In my opinion, from what I witnessed, he came out in the first round. He shot a 76. He ended up finishing the tournament 11 strokes in last place. So 11 strokes away from the second to last place person. I think he was 16 over par. Joaquin Niemann was 17 under par and won the event. All understandable. He hasn't played professional golf for 12 years. Not the most horrific showing. He had a shank that everybody's making fun of. But I think the main point was after a day or two, I don't think anybody, none of my friend groups, nobody was talking about Anthony Kim. And unless he contends and really plays, I don't know that you're going to get much more juice out of that squeeze.
Yeah, he has to play well soon. This was the first week where I was really like, man, pro golf sucks. This was a pro golf sucks weekend because the Anthony Kim thing became, and this shouldn't be a surprise, but it became so like political. You know, it was like everyone just lined up on two sides. It was either like, this is trash, I can't believe you're excited for this, or oh my God, if Will Zalatoris shot 80 in his comeback and no one was saying, you know, that he's washed up. It was so like I think we all had this image in our head of Anthony Kim's going to come back and everyone's going to be on the same team. And it was just, pro golf is so toxic and so divided right now. So you had Anthony Kim making his comeback in front of no one in Saudi Arabia. There was no one there. And you had the Cognizant, not the Honda, the Cognizant. Nice. There weren't any real big names that the average fan knows on top of the leaderboard. It bled into Monday, the weather, they can't really control it. But it just felt like one of those weeks where everyone was it was hard to really even pay attention. And I do it because it's my job and I will always do it. But it just felt like one of those weeks where we've always talked about, eventually this is going to start to damage the game, this split. And I think this was the clearest week yet, because there were 2 tournaments going on and it just felt like neither one of them really had any sort of juice at all. And Liv goes on to Hong Kong this week, and hopefully the PGA Tour, Bay Hill and the players, they can have some bigger names to go down the stretch with each other, because if you look at the list of winners, they've all been long shots the whole year, which is a testament to how deep the PGA Tour is, but it's just not producing the buzz. It just feels like all these events are coming and going, and there's just not that much reason to tune in.
All right, do we think this podcast is going to have to pivot at any point? Or are we going to have to start covering something else? If we're going to have weekends like this,
yeah,
you know what I mean? We got
pickleball tour.
We got to start kicking around ideas of like, what do we want to cover if the bottom falls out of professional golf? Now, you could argue, and the listeners would definitely argue this, that this podcast isn't all that much about professional golf, but we do touch on it, and it is sort of the foundation of what brings us all together. If the bottom falls out, I think we got to kick it to, I don't want to be a rival hockey podcast at Barstool Sports. I definitely don't want to do that. We just got to think of, Frankie is a New York Islanders fan today. He is every day, but he's even more so today. So yeah, I just, keep in your brain, the back of your mind, like, what could the 4 of us cover if golf continues to have weekends like this? Because I agree with Danny. It's like the Cognizant and then Anthony Kim, the air comes out of the balloon there. It's like, what are we going to do?
TV shows are popular. I like TV shows. We could just start talking about those. I don't know. It is starting to get to a point where, and somebody submitted this in from the gallery, which we're going to get to a bunch of from the galleries, but basically said, have we reached the point where the only thing that remotely matters in professional golf is the majors and the Ryder Cup? And I don't think it's that far off. I don't, unless Tiger Woods is in a regular PGA Tour event and he's contending to win his 83rd PGA Tour event that's going to put him above Sam Snead, even though he's already there in my mind already. I don't know that any given week, even if Rory McIlroy is grinding down the stretch against Justin Thomas, that's about as close maybe as you're going to get. And I still don't know that has the juice to transcend golf. I don't know if that cracks SVP's, hour-long Sports Center coverage. I don't know that it does. And it's like,
I don't think it does. I think it's, and with the OWGR stuff that's going on, Liv basically dropped their application. They're like, we didn't even want to come to the party anyway. But I get it from their perspective. Like, they did make changes to their format. They added this promotions and relegations event, and they're not getting world ranking points. It just felt like June 6th, which was March, which was 9 months ago to the day. We thought everything was coming back together. If I would have told you on that day, you're going to fast forward to March 6th, there's going to be no deal on the table. The PGA Tour is going to have taken American money. They're still not getting world ranking points. The best player on Liv is tumbling down the world ranking to 76. They're not even trying to get world ranking points anymore. And the Department of Justice is sniffing around, and this deal looks more unlikely to happen with the PIF than it has at any point. Just this whole coming together thing, it never really happened, or at least not yet. We're no real closer. I mean, we are a little bit, that they're not suing each other out the ass, but this whole coming together for the good of the game is not really even close to happening.
John Rahm's gone. He flipped. It's like, it's more shattered than it feels like together. Way more.
Yeah, it's completely apart from the majors. I think the Masters is going to do a huge number, right? Because it's everyone's coming together and people realize that that's what matters. But I think the PGA Tour is a couple bad players championship rating away from almost like, what are we going to do? I don't know what they can do, because the Department of Justice, or from what I gather, is really, really not into this deal.
The shitty part too is that both products kind of just suck. Like the Live is unwatchable because of what you said with there's nobody watching, and you just got to have crowds, man. It's like we're watching the COVID rounds again when you watch them play wherever the hell they were this last weekend, and you're I'm tuning in for a couple of minutes. You're trying to watch while we're like at breakfast, but it's at 4 a.m. whatever, and there's nobody out there, and you're like, okay, this doesn't feel important. And then you kind of look at the PGA Tour leaderboard, and there's no real big names up there, and every sport, even football, the highest sport, is driven by the stars. It just is. And if your stars aren't in contention, people lose interest. It's not that good. So at this point, I really don't know. I don't know how it's going to be that exciting. I think in terms of the world rankings situation, that I don't like, at what point do all of the bodies of golf just say that, oh, that website is just out, we're never going to look at it ever again, and we're just going to come up with our own system? Because at this point, John Rahm said, I didn't think it was a good system back then. If anything, the more time that goes on, the more it proves to be wrong. If anybody in this world, for example, doesn't think Joaquin Niemann, deserves to be in the top 10, or doesn't think that he's a top player in the world, I don't know what game you're watching. Matt Fitzpatrick, friend of the program, Dan's friend, if you couldn't tell from when Dan went crazy when he won the U.S. Open, which, I would have done the same thing. I don't think the world rankings are a true representation of the game of golf at the minute. Xander Schauffele said the LIV Tour definitely has really good players and players that are in the top 10 or top 25 in the world, and there's many of them. So just sort of ranking unranked right now, but to me, I do believe they're definitely top-ranked players in the world. If you go through, LIV Golf has John Rahm is ranked 3rd, Tyrrell Hatton is ranked 17th, Brooks Koepka is ranked 30th, Cam Smith is 50th, Joaquin Niemann, who's probably the best player on LIV right now, who's winning a lot, he's 76th. Phil Mickelson is 147th. Bryson is 182nd. DJ 266th. And Taylor Gooch is 476th in the world. Those just aren't correct. And so if you're going to sit there and go, these are the rankings of the best players in the world, anyone on earth would just look at that, go, that is not correct. Those are not the rankings of the best players in the world. And so where the fuck are we if those are clearly just not the actual rank?
What makes it complicated, though, is that a lot of the people who are on the board of the OWGR are like the people who run the majors. So it's very strange. Like Augusta's got a big role in the OWGR board. USGA is represented there. So it's very weird. You'd think that they would look out in their own self-interest, because the primary function of this, yes, it's nice to have a ranking, but it's to determine who gets into majors, right? It's still top 50 get into majors. So they have to look at themselves in the mirror. Across the board, people, this is the OWGR week where everyone is getting up there and they're asking everyone the question. Everyone's like, it sucks. Will Zalatoris said the same thing. If the players themselves are saying this ranking is bullshit, and any fan can look at it and say this ranking is bullshit, it's like they want us to feel like I'm taking crazy pills by asking for us to use this as a metric for anything.
I wish we were smarter. I wish I was smarter. I'll speak for myself, where I could like come up with a system that everybody trusted, because that
data golf, baby.
That is that good? Is that what people like? Because whoever comes out with a system that people all agree, like they are taking into account the LIV fields, the PGA Tour fields, like they're making it all make sense, that person's going to get out on top here.
Yeah, the data golf rankings has Joaquin Niemann 12th. They have Bryson 22nd. They have Dustin Johnson. I mean, like, isn't it incredible that this website, who doesn't pay us to say this, found a way to rank all the players? Isn't that incredible that they did that?
Incredible.
I would like to declare I will be releasing my own rankings.
Okay.
And they're just going to be pure eye test. So this is going to be, poll. Yep. And there's some puns in there from my history and my disability, but the Rigsy eye test, something along those lines, I'm just going to release. So I'm going to release the top 25 players in the world. Yep. I'm going to put them out every week, and I'm going to kind of do a Big Cat does that. I know he does that, I believe, with the NFL power rankings. I'm just going to release the Rigsy eye test rankings.
You want to do 50 just to be like top 50 get into the majors?
Problem is, Trent, I don't think I am going to get really bored of it every week after I get to the top through to the 32nd in the world or something.
Sure.
And I don't know that the Eye of Sauron there can really go that deep. I at that point, I mean, I can't watch that many guys play golf, so I'm going to go top 25.
Okay.
I'm just going to release that every week. So that will go out going forward. But at this point, the official World Golf Rankings out. I think everybody believes that they're out, and they got to figure out some other system, because it's getting very stupid to the point where every person on the PGA Tour is even saying, like, this is fucking dumb. How come these guys are not ranked as some of the top players were? I saw Phil Mickelson, by the way, finished top 6, I believe, last week. on the Live
Nice.
Golf Tour. So nice to see him trending. He finished fucking second in the Masters tournament last year. So I wouldn't hate to see Phil heating up here going into the Masters. We want as much drama as possible going into this thing.
It is amazing all of the systems that the emergence of Live, what they've broken, right? World Golf Rankings, PGA Tour, like in a lot of ways it exposed things that probably needed to get exposed, whether you agree with Live, whether you don't. It is getting to the point where I just don't know at what cost. They're exposing so many things and there's so much division that it feels like golf is at a tipping point. Like I really, it's a good thing to like, competition breeds like, oh, it exposes what is wrong with the league that maybe had a monopoly on the sport before. And I think that's a good thing ultimately. But now we're getting to a point where if this thing doesn't come together and the players are playing the same events and there's that tension of like, oh, there's Live guys there, there's PGA Tour guys there. That's the juice that this thing needs. The further and longer this thing stays apart, again, it's good that it exposed all these things. Now there's different money coming in, blah, 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 different events, all this stuff. But the further and longer they stay apart, we're getting to a strange time with golf, I think.
Yeah, and we're getting to a point where it's almost hard for new stars to be coined on the PGA Tour because the competition is cheapened somewhat, right? Like,
yes.
We think about, okay, the system will produce new stars. Well, Jake Knapp is a good example, right? He wins a tournament in Mexico. He finishes third last week. But if people aren't paying attention, if people don't value a PGA Tour win for the same thing that they used to, it's hard for the public to get behind these guys because they'll be like, oh, they're just winning on a diminishing tour,
right?
Or on a diminished tour. So yeah, it goes longer and longer. It's a serious problem, and I don't think it's one of those things where the PGA Tour like ratings are down and the juice is down. That doesn't necessarily mean that Live is like overtaking them and Live is like this incredible product. That's what Rick said earlier. It both just kind of stinks. They're both taking away from each other. It's not like the PGA Tour interest is going straight over to Live. I think there's just less interest across the board,
which is
too much, really.
Yeah,
it's too much golf.
Yeah,
the golf's boring at its core. So it's like two different leagues, two different streams, too many tournaments. It's even the biggest sport in the world. How many months does the NFL take off? Right? Of like you're a fan of your team. You watch them 17 times a year on Sundays, sometimes Thursdays, sometimes Mondays. I think randomly you can watch them on a Saturday, but golf is too much. It's way too much involved. It's like background noise at this point. I don't know how you fix it. I really don't. You got to create drama. The majors have the drama just because of the fact that they're the majors. How the fuck is the PGA Tour going to get the Cognizant Classic to be drama filled and fun to watch? I don't know. But maybe just those like little events will always just stay little events that no one cares about. They're just filler events that do they even care that the ratings are down? You know what I mean? Like are they building towards the players and hoping that has huge ratings just because that's their big major? Like, does the PGA Tour even care that no one's caring about the Cognizant
I
Classic?
also think ratings becomes like a week to week, like this is the metric that everyone cares. But realistically, the media deals are all long term and they're all already agreed upon. So it's really like a long trend where it doesn't really matter week to week, but those are the numbers that come out week to week, and then everyone can be like, ha ha ha, see, the ratings are down.
I would like to.
If every golfer played in the Cognizant Classic in the world, do you think the ratings would have been up?
Yeah, I think they would have been higher.
Better. Yeah.
I don't think they would have been like a major championship, but they would have been higher.
I do. I'm going to speak on behalf of golf here. We just want to put our best foot forward, and that is currently not happening. At the very least, you want to try to have the best field so you can try to have the best ratings. That in the current system is not happening. And it looks like there's no end in sight.
Yeah. And I think I would imagine it's a situation similar to, if we have a video go out that doesn't do great numbers, but over the course of a 2-year period, we have rising numbers across the board, then when our sales team goes to X amount of clients, they're able to present that data in like a beneficial way to us. The tour, when they go back up for TV rights or they go to get the renewals, like there's a reason that Honda left. There's a reason that some of these other companies, I can't remember which ones, like left as the title sponsor of events. Those things start to fall eventually. And when they go renegotiate TV rights and deals, if those companies, CBS and NBC and whoever else is bidding at that point, can go to these tours and say, we're looking at the ratings. They've been going down or they're not growing. They're shit. We're paying you less this time than we did 5 or 10 years ago. Like that's going to kill the PGA Tour in the long term. So I think it's more of a long-term issue than a week-to-week issue, but it is just a function of the fact that I do think you're getting shittier leaderboards because you don't have as many good players playing because they're split between two tours, and now they're so hyper focused on just playing the elevated events that you're less likely to get. I mean, especially now, you literally can't get a John Rahm versus Rory McIlroy or JT or Spieth down the stretch. You're way less likely to get that because they're either on a different tour or not playing as much, and so you get sort of no-name players more often, and that just kind of kills the leaderboard, and nobody's talking about it. You got no buzz, you got no ratings, and it makes it for a shitty product. So it's not a good fucking spot to be in, and they do need to figure it out.
I'd also say throughout this whole PGA Tour versus Live era, I think we've been saying, oh, this is great for guys like us because we're headline guys. We host a podcast, we put out videos, we put out TikToks. Like, having all this drama is a good thing because it gives us something to talk about. I no longer feel that way. And we're almost in a holding pattern now where the big guys who are going to jump have jumped. Those are the headlines. And it's even not that big of a deal anymore when guys jump. I mean, John Rahm jumping was a big deal, but it dominated headlines for like a couple of days and it was gone. Like the days of being like, who's going to go? Oh, then we can talk about it. Oh, there's going to be tension when they see each other at these majors. All of that to me feels like it's gone. And now we just have two leagues and it's fucking boring.
Well, it was supposed to be over. It was supposed to be over. It was supposed to end 9 months ago. That's what we thought. That was the messaging, right? Like it's crazy. If you watch that episode, first episode of Full Swing, it's all about like the merger and all that news. And that was the messaging, was full merger, everyone back together. And then the storyline was, you know, are the guys who stayed on the PGA Tour going to be really pissed off because these guys are coming back? That was the next thing. And then they just never came back.
It's also fucking crazy to look now back at how clear the optics were that it was presented like a merger, and then how much the PGA Tour afterwards tried to backtrack and be like, in no way is this a merger. They had the fucking commissioner of the tour sitting up there next to Yasser Al-Rumayyan together talking about how they've reached a deal.
Looks like a merger.
On earth would not say that that's clearly a fucking merger? They're on CNBC. That's where they do merger talk, on CNBC.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's literally what it's for.
That whole part of that. That's just fucking crazy. And then, yeah, here we are. Clearly nobody's closer. So they got to figure it out. I know we've talked about this a million times. We've talked about it for a while today. They got to figure it out because professional golf as a whole is just not better today than it was 3 or 5 years ago. And that's very, very, very obvious to everybody.
It's way worse. And also, no one's happy. The PGA Tour players aren't happy because there's only 69 guys in the field at this week at Bay Hill. Nick Dunlap is playing alone. Everyone's like, this is so stupid. Why don't they just let one person in? Rules are rules. I don't really have like the sympathy. If you didn't get in, you didn't get in. But I just feel like no one's happy.
I will say,
maybe
like, a
the
Wyndham
live guys
Clark
are
is happy. A Wyndham Clark is happy because a Wyndham Clark played really well over the last year, and now being a top 10, 15 player in the world who won a major last year, he is going to get, and already has gotten, way richer than he would have gotten
that's a
3
good
or
point.
5 years ago.
It's
So there are
it's
some
a very
guys.
specific like Venn diagram of people who are happy right now in the world of golf. And Wyndham Clark, I would agree, does fall into that. But we would like it to be bigger because it's very small right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Full Swing. So Full Swing is officially out as of this morning. We're recording it, noonish on Wednesday, so I haven't watched any of it yet. Our friend Dan Rappaport is, of course, a big part of the show. You're kind of you're the nerdy golf journalist, like in terms of like golf nerdy. Like you're plugged in, who you kind of drive the storyline from the media / fan narrative. You did last time. You're up there still, I believe, with your great rival Dylan DeChair. And
I heard Dylan DeChair was on the dad bod this year.
Yeah.
yeah,
He actually turned it down, which like made us all upset.
Really,
Classy.
the Larian magic of golf journalists is Dylan and Danny.
Oh boy. Yeah, I've been trying to avoid the clips on social just because I want to be able to watch it pure, and it's pouring rain here in North Carolina. So I'm thinking this afternoon I'm going to just post up with a coffee maybe and just watch this bad boy all afternoon. What do we got? 8 episodes? Is that correct?
Yeah, 8 episodes. There's like 2 pairs of episodes. So the first 2 are like part 1, part 2 of The Game Has Changed, which is sort of all about Live and the PGA Tour and the merger stuff. And then the last 2 episodes are both about the Ryder Cup. First one's sort of about the selection process. I'm interested to see you guys. I want to know what you guys think about Zach Johnson after watching that first episode. And then the second one is in
I already
Rome.
know what I think about
King,
Zach Johnson.
he's perfect. Don't
Dude, he
don't
literally
yell
was
at
like staying. He was staying with JT, Spieth, and Ricky, like in a house. like while he's supposed to be the captain and making this decision like impartially. You feel so bad for Keegan. You feel so bad in the episode.
I'm sure his acting's perfect and fine.
I haven't seen it yet, so I can't judge. But I kind of know how I feel about Zach Johnson. So, anyways, we'll kind of do a further review of that. I would say next week. We're going to be at the Players Championship. So after this show, the next time folks hear from us, we'll be in Jacksonville Beach, Ponte Vedra, Florida. We'll be. We got pickleball is Tuesday. That's the first Barstool Pickleball Open event of the year, and then Wednesday is what are we calling it? The Sawgrass Shootout. Is that, the shootout. All kind of at the Yards facility. There's all kinds of cool stuff going on there. Yeah, I know the park got a lot of hype from anyone that did actually watch the match number 9 last week. This is sort of in the same vein a little bit of this new age of golf, fun, a little bit less serious, more accessible to the public, to kids. All that is what the Yards is like. We've been there before, played with Adam Scott. And we're going to be there all day Tuesday and all day Wednesday. And then we're going to be at the tournament, I think, Monday and Thursday next week. So very excited to get over to the Players Championship.
Yeah. Also, we have a video. Joel Damon from Netflix, Side Gig, came out Wednesday. So yesterday, if you're listening to this, we played I caddy 9 holes for him, as we always do on Side Gig. Greyhawk Golf Club. Briggs was there riding around for a little while. We got into it about life, golf, what Netflix got right, what Netflix got wrong. Kind of was also trying to give him a little pep talk, because I feel like there's the Netflix narrative is a little down on Joel this year. So we were doing a little therapy out there, but it was great. It's great. It's golf nerd stuff. So if you're into that, check it out.
I love that fucking guy. I love Joel Damon. He's one of my top 3 favorite people in golf at this point. He's just such a genuine dude. He's very real about who he is. I think that it overshadows a little bit, like how much he does want to be good at golf and how good he is at golf. I mean, he won a PGA Tour event. He's contended at the U.S. Open last year, but he's also just the most normal dude who, in terms of like, I wouldn't say flaws, but a flaw when it comes to trying to drive the best professional athlete career in history. His flaw would be he does like to hang and have a couple drinks and shoot the shit. That's like his favorite thing in the world. And I think that's insanely relatable. Like, I think almost everyone on earth would be like, yeah, like if I truly was just trying to be the best accountant I could be day in and day out, I would study fucking numbers. I would study Excel spreadsheets. I would focus on working on my brain and doing exercises, go home, stretch, go to sleep. No, dude, you fucking be an accountant from 9 to 5, and then you go to the bar and come up with an excuse to watch a game and have a bunch of beers every single night. Oh, there's college basketball on. Oh, football's back on. Oh, hockey's on. I guess I'll go drink. And like, of course, you got a guy as a professional athlete, Joel Damon, who I think is pretty goddamn similar to all of those people, yet he has this insane golf talent. So I love his storyline. I love Joel. I like how open he's always been with us. He gives us just the first time we met him, he gave us just the full authentic experience of him at Mesa Country Club. And in this video, he was just as good as well. He gave us like 3 hours of his time for no reason other than he's a really good dude. So, and he got a couple of beers with us afterwards and was talking about Netflix. He's just the man. So
he was also the reason why Foreplay as a group makes an appearance in the show.
Very excited.
We had him on episode 3. We had him we had him on the week of the U.S. Open, and they put it in the show.
Crazy. Did anyone make those IMDb pages yet, or what?
I haven't looked.
Maybe not.
It's a big show. A very big show.
Maybe not, because it just went out today, so we'll see. Maybe
millions of people are going to see that. Millions.
Oh yeah,
pretty cool.
The
man.
numbers on that show last year, Full Swing season 1, were like outrageously high.
Yeah. How do you see numbers on Netflix?
I don't think they release.
No, they just release what it's like. It's kind of North Korea. They just kind of tell you what they want you to know.
Okay.
It's all subscription based, right? So they have no idea. No one would ever know what.
Yeah, it's not like rated on Nielsen, but they have the internal metrics that they can release or not release. Yeah,
true. Like we'll say sources close to the show may have told us that the numbers were very, very, very good for the first year.
The guy you had on for an hour and a half.
Do you ever feel like money is just flying out of your account and you have no idea where it's going?
Yes.
Yeah, it's called marriage.
I could see that. I could see that being an issue. I'm not married, but I've heard about it.
Same.
I've heard about what that's like. Maybe a little Amazon action. Something.
This just happened to me when we were at the Barstool Classic. I got an alert. Are we talking about Rocket Money?
You sure are.
I got an alert from Rocket Money that something was purchased in Ireland, and it was like, and I didn't realize, and I thought it was fraud alert. I'm like, what the hell is Celtic chauffeur or something? And I'm like, what is happening? It said that it said, is this a legit transfer, a legit transaction? And I had to call my wife and be like, what is this? And she's like, oh, it's like all the tours that we're going to be doing and the drives from the air. But without Rocket Money, that was going under the radar, man. That was like, Rocket Money's like, yo, watch out, because she's booking the nice car out there in Ireland.
She got
So,
the
like,
Mercedes.
it says chauffeur on it. And I'm not even going to this trip because the Islanders are making the playoffs. But listen, Rocket Money saved me. I had to have a little talk. I was like, what is this? Let's just settle down. Let's have a conversation. Rocket Money alerted me immediately.
They also will alert you about all kinds of subscriptions that you may have. If you think about it, between streaming services, fitness apps, delivery services, parenting apps, it is endless. Rocket Money personal finance app. They will find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and help lower your bills. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has helped save its members an average of $720 a year, with over $500 million in just canceled subscriptions. So stop wasting money on things you do not use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/Fore. That is rocketmoney.com/FORE. rocketmoney.com/Fore. A quick note about the golf gambling show. So due to Kirk Minahan's producer being stuck for over a day trying to get the top 10 home run leaders and issues with his show, the first episode of the golf gambling show, brought to you by #DK Partner DraftKings, will be next week, which is Players Championship week. And I have an update. We've been getting, I'm sure you guys have seen this too, a bunch of tweets about bringing For the Cut back, which the For the Cut bet, if folks remember, each guy on this show picked a player. We get the odds of all 4 of those players to make the cut, and then we put that bad boy up as a Barstool specific bet. We've talked to DraftKings. We've got things in motion. I don't think it's going to happen overnight or in the first couple weeks, but DraftKings is going to be working with us to roll out the capability for us to do the For the Cut bet every single week. So that's going to be coming back at some point soon. Awesome. So I am very excited about that. And I missed that as well. I'd kind of forgotten that we did that, but we were hot for a while. Remember, we were up like 10 units in the first 5 or 6 weeks that we did it last year.
We were on fire.
We hit a couple plus 800s. We were flying.
We were rolling. We were rolling.
Speaking of the Kirk Minahan producer, I mean, we're in an era of Barstool Sports right now where it's just unhinged live streams, and I don't know where it ends really. I don't know if someone just ends up just being Truman Showed, where it's just the whole life from like if someone, I have a feeling if someone like has a baby in the Barstool universe, they're just gonna like film the whole life, just like the Truman Show. I don't know where it goes from here.
Yeah,
Clemmer at one of our coworkers has been in solitary confinement for over 2 days right now, and Dave just cut the stream, so he's just sitting in there in front of no one. Which, when he comes out, he might do something drastic.
I'm not going to be.
And then you've got he's coming out on Friday, and he's not going to be on camera for 3 days. He's doing it just for himself. Also, was it? People might not know what the fuck I'm talking about, but was it a glitch that 325,000 people were watching him on Twitter?
That couldn't have been right. I saw that as well. That had to be a glitch.
I was watching it, and the number was there. So,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't.
Was
think
that
it was
early on?
It was just like an hour ago. It was insane. It was like 325. It literally on X said 325K next to him.
If that were true, Dave would not have cut the stream. If 300,000 people were watching, he'd be like, all right, they want all these people, twice the size of the town that I grew up in, wants to watch Clemmer sleep for the next 2 hours.
And then you've got Jersey Jerry last night trying to, he broke Caitlin Clark's all-time record of scoring.
Yeah.
In one night, it took him 5 hours. It's out of control right now. But that Coleman Kirk Minahan one, I was talking with my buddies, like, I swear to God, I think I'd still be in there if without any hints. There's no way in hell I was guessing Frank Robinson. No way.
No,
I would have been in there for the rest of my life without any hints.
I'm with you. When we talked about it a little bit at the Classic yesterday, I don't think I would have gotten Jim Thome either. Jim Thome being up
so
there
random.
is stunning. I would have said Frank Thomas. I would have said
Frank Thomas,
a
Manny
million
Ramirez,
more names
anyone
before I would have said Jim Thome, and certainly not Frank Robinson. That was tough. I mean, I'm glad he got out of there, but yeah, I'm with you. I think I would still be in there because no way am I getting those two. No chance.
That stream was so funny, man. I was watching that in between the intermissions of the Islanders dismantling the St. Louis Blues. We had to give it to you guys after you embarrassed us.
All right. We won 4-0 a week ago.
It is what it is, but it was a dismantling. I mean, the Islanders are on their way. They've won 4 in a row against 4 really good teams. I mean, I'll give the Blues. They're on a playoff.
They're a solid team.
Them in that good. Yep. They're a solid team. They're the first team out of the wild card bubble. So Islanders are making a move 4 in a row. Patrick Waugh has this team going fast. They're going hard and fast, or whatever. We're going fast.
We're going
and left.
fast and left. Fast.
That's what the Isles are doing right now. It's obviously there's no skill. There's no skill that's been added to the Islanders with Patrick Waugh, but you could just tell that there's just a different system in there where they just go. These breakouts are out of control, man. Stick to stick, tape to tape, flying out of the D zone. D's are getting activated on the offensive game. It's just a really fun game to watch right now. It's not boring, as Paul Bissonnette always said.
Bro, your ability to start just talking about the Islanders where it came out of nowhere, and those last few sentences, like you were at a press conference and people asked you, like, how do you think the Islanders are playing? You're like, yeah, no, Patrick Waugh has really got him playing really well. Like, we were talking about Frank Robinson and Jim Thome 25 seconds ago, and now we got a full debrief on the Islanders.
We're flying.
It's an incredible skill that you have to just start talking about them.
We're just flying, bro. We're flying. Brock Nelson. God, it's just so good. Tarasenko just went to the fucking Panthers, by the way, for nothing. For a bag
saw
of
that.
bucks.
They're trying to win the cup.
Not
They're
good.
really making a push to win the cup. I'm a Patrick Waugh guy. I said that when we first started talking about him, when we were telling Trent about who he is. Has he had any crazy episodes? I mean, I know he did early on.
And early on, he does that whistle, man. You know, some people just have like, I know I'm a pretty decent whistler, but it's like within my body, within my voice tone.
Walrus.
He can do the. It's like it doesn't have to touch his feet, but it hits the top of the arena. It hits the top of the arena and comes down. And you can see when he does it, the players look from the ice and like he gets people on and off. He's very involved in the way these guys play the game. It's crazy. But I love him. I fucking love that guy. I'll die for Patrick Waugh. But yeah, that's the Islanders. That's the Islanders talk. We'll see if we can make the playoffs. My Ireland trip is officially on hold, so that's fun.
You put the kaputs on it for now?
Well, no, like the trip is happening. Who's going on the trip will be decided legitimately the day before. So I've never really dealt with. Yeah, I mean, like we've got 4 tickets to Ireland. My mom's definitely going. My wife is going. Are my dad and myself going to be there? Who knows? We don't know. We might have to be at the Borelli's streams. So if that is the case, I don't know how it works, but can we just like hand those to like my mom's friends, or you know what I mean, or like
transfer?
Like I guess you could just do that, right? Like here you go. Just change the names on the rooms, and there you go. See you later.
Yeah, I think you could transfer the credits over. It'd be a tough pill to swallow, but I guess you want to not go, right? You want to not go at this point. You want them to be in the playoffs.
It's a problem,
it's the most extreme case of hedging your happiness that you've ever done. But
if they make the playoffs, you don't think they have like a chance? You don't think they have a chance?
Oh,
right?
They're a very good playoff team.
Come on,
yeah, they're good.
So I mean, there you go.
Come on, Dan.
They've also the sign that they've beaten. You know, especially 2 of their last 4 wins are 2 of the best teams in the entire league. And then Detroit and St. Louis are both solid. But Dallas and who else did they beat?
Boston
are like maybe the best team.
2 best teams in the league.
Yeah, best team in the West, best team in the East. So are at least close. So if they make the playoffs, and the NHL is so different than the NBA or a lot of other, like anybody, once you get in, anybody can really win the cup.
Here's the last thing I'll say on this, probably not, but they have so many goddamn overtime and shootout losses that, like, if you look at them 5-on-5, like regular, legit playoff hockey, they're essentially winning every single one of those games. You know what I mean? Like, they have so many alternative style of hockey losses this year where, like, all right, you made it to overtime, 3-3, and now we're going to take 2 of your players off and we're going to play 3-on-3 hockey for the next 5 minutes. And then if you don't win that, we're going to send out breakaways on your goalie, and then you're going to get the loss. But it's like, that's happened 14 times to them. And it's like, all right, that doesn't happen in the playoffs. If it's 3-3 going into overtime, all 5 Islanders are going back out there against the Florida Panthers, and it's going to be a fucking tough period of hockey. It's not going to be a pushover where you're just sending out 3 guys and one guy misses a shot and the other guys go on a breakaway. It's listen, if they get into the playoffs, they're going to be a scary team. The metrics actually prove it. So that's all I'll say about that. And
I can't
we'll
decide if for your mental and just long-term health, if I think it's better that they miss the playoffs and you get to go to Ireland and have your sort of Islanders meltdown right before, then go on a vacation, have a great time.
Yeah.
Or if they make the playoffs, you have to cancel your vacation and then they just get rolled by like the Bruins or something in the first round. I think that's way worse for you, right?
Well, I haven't done so they don't release the schedule for the playoffs until I think like the week before the playoffs, until they see like whatever happened. But you can kind of gauge off previous years what days are going to be game 1, 2, 3, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I've figured that it might be game 6 and 7 of round 1 is when we would basically leave, 6 or 7. So like,
okay,
anything could happen still. So like, if the Islanders make the playoffs, I still will have my ticket to Ireland regardless of what's happening.
If they get
I want to
swept,
be very clear. I want the New York Islanders to make the playoffs and win the Stanley Cup. Like Ireland is definitely 2D at this point.
Ireland's not going anywhere.
No.
As far as I know.
But listen, and originally I got it from my parents. It was like my mom's dream to go there. And we were like, oh, we have a week off, like in between all of our travel. We'll just come with you. Like, we'll make it our yearly trip. This is the thing we're going to do. We're going to go on a trip with you guys. It's going to be amazing. Originally, it's just for my parents. So, like, I have to just be able to take the back seat to that. But it will be a tough pill to swallow to pay for that and not go. But whatever, it is what it is.
I would like to give just a shout out to my friends at American Airlines, and more so to me. I reached executive platinum status on American Airlines, which is the highest status that they have. And I did it. You had to do it by February 29th of this year. And I was not inside of it. And then our flight that we booked, the really cool one that me and Frankie took to go from Monterey to Dallas to Myrtle, got me over the hump. So now until February 28th, 2025, I am an executive platinum member, which is awesome. They let me check.
What does that entail?
They should let you fly. They should let you fly the plane. They should let you get your hands on the steering wheel.
I agree.
For 15 seconds. If you reach all those big words that you just said in your status for American Airlines, you should be able to put your hands on the steering wheel at 30,000 feet for 10 seconds, and then you got to go back to your seat.
I agree with you, Trent. I'm going to make that very clear to them. But it says, here's what I get. Here's what I get real quick. Unlimited complimentary upgrades within North America, including award tickets. I don't know what that means. Confirmed as early as 100 hours before departure. Complimentary preferred seats. Complimentary main cabin extra seats. 120% mileage bonus. 3 free check bags with priority handling. That's a big one, actually. Priority check-in, security, and boarding. Free same-day flight change and standby priority. That's actually could be a big one. Complimentary alcoholic beverage, huge one.
Nice.
And snack in the main cabin. And then AA Advantage Executive Platinum Service Desk access at any time.
So wait, nothing about putting your hands on the steering wheel here? Is that that's not on this
No, this one, unless
you're listing a lot of things that I don't necessarily care about, but I
don't either, but I just kind of like to have the status.
Well, of all the things you said, the biggest thing is obviously the upgrade, unlimited upgrades, because I'm diamond on Delta. I don't want to start like talking about statuses here, but I'm diamond on Delta. It's as high as you can go on Delta. Delta, I think, is the best airline in the country.
I think they are too.
At the end of the day, the biggest thing that I have is the Delta Diamond phone line. And when you call, there's no one else on hold. It's just you, and then you go directly to an agent. So if you're in a pinch and you need to get into contact with someone, that's huge. If you're just a regular Delta customer, you're on hold for maybe an hour and a half. It says like, we'll call you back. The line's so long that like, leave your number and we'll call you when you're up. For Diamond on Delta, it doesn't even ring. It just says, hello, Mr. Borelli. And you're like, what the fuck? Wow. And you're like, I need all these changes. And they say, no problem. They treat the top real nice at airlines, but they treat just the regular people that just travel once a year like dirt.
So this might be huge that I have that phone number then. Advantage Executive Platinum Service Desk. And then the last
you can call for anyone, like your friends, your family. It's huge. It's massive.
I might just do it this afternoon. Just call and talk to him. Be like, what's this?
Just
all
say
about?
what's up.
How are you?
Hey, I'm Riggs. Be calling. Just wanted to put a name to a face.
Yeah,
I'll
nice
be
to
calling
talk
them
to
the
you
day
guys.
before Ireland and be like, listen, this is a lot that's about to be happening. Patrick
We got
Waugh
the
has
Islanders.
his team going north-south. Real good hockey.
Tape to tape
we're
passes. You
flying.
should see our breakouts
You
right
gotta
now.
see Adam Pellick coming out of the D zone right now. He's playing like he did 2 years ago. It's fucking unbelievable. But I gotta switch this over to my Aunt Kathy. It's just like you guys switch all these names over.
Brittany from Delta's gonna be like, "This is the first time I've ever done this, but I just have to put you on hold, sir. I cannot keep
throwing a lot
I cannot
at me.
listen to you
Throwing
fucking
too much
talk
at
about
me.
this."
Yeah.
for.
Who is
Not what
Patrick
it's for,
Waugh
Sam.
taking your ticket?
Yeah,
Who's
she's like, what
how
the
do you spell
fuck?
it? Is it WAY?
It's actually ROY, which is stunning.
Frankie's like, "Can you do a search for any New York Rangers affiliated people and just don't let them fly today anywhere on Delta?" All right. I also have One World Emerald status. I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool.
Very nice. That is nice.
All right. Let's get to From the Gallery. We're going to do From the Gallery, which is brought to you by our great friends at TaylorMade Golf. I have to say, the entire four-play crew, minus Dan Rappaport, at the Dad Bod Classic this last weekend in very difficult conditions, cold, rainy, windy. We're on the coast, which is very cool. Cool spot to play, but difficult conditions. This QI10, QI10 Max, QI10 LS from the fellas just couldn't miss. We were driving it like you wouldn't believe. Had a fantastic performance, all three of us. And I have to credit this new QI10. It's so forgiving. It looks so good when you look down at it. It just looks like you can't miss with this thing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you have all these people that reach out to you and they're like, is it actually better than the last one? Is it actually better than the one before that? And it is hard to keep talking about drivers year after year after year. That's a pretty common, golf talk right now amongst golfers, amongst amateur golfers on driving ranges, being like, they're coming out with a new driver every single year. Listen, I know it's a lot. I know that if you bought the last one, you probably want this one. And I'm telling you right now, regardless of who's getting paid to say what or whatever the deals are, this is quite literally the best driver that's out in the market right now. Yeah. They made massive changes from the Stealth 2 to this one. It's a completely new driver. It's completely overhauled. All new technology inside of it. They took a completely different approach than they did with the Stealth 2. And you can just see the Stealth 1 was probably the most jarring change to a golf club that's ever been done. And every single person on tour basically switched to it. Stealth 2 maybe was a little bit of a slow mix. Some guys used it, some guys didn't. Dude, the QI10, go down the list of who's using this fucking thing. It's everybody on every single tour, male, woman, whoever you want to be. Everyone's using it.
It's an incredible club. Again, they got the QI10 Max, which is one that I'm using. I love it. So shop the QI10 Max, QI10, and the QI10 LS drivers, and schedule a custom fitting. Huge part. You can go look at my custom fitting with Trotty that I did a few weeks ago. Go schedule a custom fitting at TaylorMadeGolf.com. That's TaylorMadeGolf.com. All right. We've got Matt. Matt says, what do you think is the most egregious rules violation a PGA Tour player has ever gotten away with in a tournament? Intentionally changing a lie, knowingly putting an incorrect score on a scorecard, etc., etc. Now, do you know of any, Dan, that really, really stick out?
No, but now that you mention it, there was a time before there were TVs. I do wonder if someone won a tournament with a bullshit score one time.
Definitely.
Like there's been a lot of tournaments,
yes.
And there was a lot. You think yes? You think someone won a tournament where just they either cut a hole in their pocket or dropped the ball or they just wrote down a different score. Like your playing partner, if you're playing a tournament, they'll be like, "Oh, is that a 4 there?" And then you're supposed to be like, "No, it's a 5." This guy was just like, "No, it was a 4," and then he won the tournament by 1. Like that probably happened in the 1960s.
Wouldn't it be crazier if it hadn't happened? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like if it were just across the board, gentleman's game, all that bullshit. Bro, we've run into so many people just in terms of walks of life and take all like the amount of people that you've met, put them into golf. There's people out there who are just like, I'm going to fucking cheat. I'm going to do that. And if there's no cameras, if there's no TVs, nobody's going to catch me. I'm just going to do it. I guarantee that has happened.
Especially when it they weren't playing for as much money.
Yeah.
So it was even like grittier. It was like, I got to fucking, if you had a chance to win, it wasn't like you had, TaylorMade or whatever paying you a bunch of money back then.
Right.
Like, you had to.
I'm not going to be able to put gas in my car if I don't win this tournament. So I'm just going to.
I wonder if someone won a major that way. I wonder if someone is in their grave or 97 years old and they just have a real secret. They just have a real secret.
I don't remember which. Oh, okay. I'm looking at it right now. I just Googled it. Look, we're friends of Gary Player in this program. So by all accounts, he's always been a very
By the
upstanding
book,
gentleman
yeah.
to us. But I know there is a certain sect of the golf world that is vehemently trying to showcase and prove every year that the British Open comes up that in the 1974 Open Championship, that Gary Player improved his lie on the last hole of the event and won the tournament. And you can look it up. And people, there's like a video of him. He was like right up next to the clubhouse on like this like brick patio stuff, and he like putzes it off there. I don't know all the details, but I've seen this surface many different times, and people just go nuts against Gary Player for this moment. Again, I'm not saying he did it all. We're big Gary Player fan. I mean, Trent stayed at his house during the Masters tournament one year, drove us down Magnolia Lane, great guy. But for full transparency, people out there do claim that, and it's almost like whoever said it at the beginning, it'd be crazy or not. It's like aliens in that regard. Like, there's clearly, it would be more unlikely by a billion X that there's not other life somewhere in the universe than that there is. And at this point, I think that's true about big golf tournaments. At some point, someone put their head down on their pillow and said, ha, I won that event by doing whatever the fuck I did. But I had to, like you said, and people always justify it in their own brain. What that like, could have been, who knows?
Like some of those early British Opens where it was like 300 years ago.
100%.
It's just like, of course.
I got the guy on Long Island, that coach was like pulling balls out of bunkers, changing balls out of the trees.
Yeah.
He got like kicked out of every single teaching facility, had to build like his own. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I would say, I don't remember what the question was, but with what we're talking about right now, that is definitely
you think someone's gone even further than the allegedly Gary Player, where they just like they just completely put a ball down that wasn't there, or set a lower score and won a major because of it?
Saying a lower score would be tough to get away with because you have playing partners. Maybe like you just, maybe you were over in the tall grass and you whiffed on one and you just acted like it was a practice swing like everybody does on the weekend now. But like you just got away with it in 1904 because there were no cameras, obviously. But if someone walked over and was looking in the tall shit for their ball and just dropped one out of their pocket and was 100%. Like, yeah, dude, like I bet that's happened at a pretty high level before.
Dan, you brought
everyone knows the groups in high school golf where they all look at each other and it's like fives, and we're like, sure. I mean, like, well,
also,
get out of here.
Dan, you bring
let's get. We're finishing in fifth today. Like, let's all just get off the golf course. Like, I don't know.
Like you would, like if you did it today, obviously it would be just a massive story because there's so much money involved. There's so much prestige. It means so much now. But 200 years ago at, the British Open or whatever, it's just like, it's not that it wasn't a big deal, but it honestly wasn't that big of a deal as it, like, it was not nearly as big as it is now. So it's like, oh yeah, I did it and I won like, $50. I think the fact that it's such a big deal now makes us think like, wow, that almost seems impossible. But a couple hundred years ago, people would just been like, yeah, I did it. I don't know.
We got one bastion, one guy who's going to save us all, and it's Daniel Berger. I don't know if you guys saw any of these things, but he was the guy who, when, him and Hovland got into it about at the Players a couple years ago about the drop. There was another one this week where a guy was taking a drop, and Daniel Berger was just like standing over him like this, watching the entire thing go down. So thank you, Daniel Berger.
Thank you for your service.
You're protecting the field.
The vigilante out there.
I remember one time in high school golf, this kid hit a ball and like didn't see it, and we all just like saw it go left, like out of bounds, and like he walked over on the right side and was like, I found my ball. And we were all like, well, like that's obviously the biggest lie ever told, because you
hit it over the fence.
Just admit that you just didn't see it, but it was on the other side of the golf course. So it's like,
yeah,
because like it went up and he was like, and we were like, oh, and he's like, I saw it come down. We were like, okay. And like we just like knew it didn't go over. And what are you gonna do? You're in like 10th grade. You're not gonna like fight the kid. I didn't even really you don't even really know the rules of golf at that point. But you remember looking at my buddy being like, that's like, there's no way.
Dude,
we're gonna fist fight this guy. It's like, it's crazy.
It reminds me of when Doug Gim was talking about Chicago high school golf days, and he would win tournaments by like 25 shots just because Chicago high school golf is not a hotbed for golf and winter and the whole deal. And he just told the story about one player with one kid who was like 10 over through 3 or something. And then on like the 4th hole, he's over there by a tree and he got like no stance. And he's like, we watched him for like 2.5 minutes just take out every branch imaginable before he hit the ball so that he just had a clean swing. And he hits it. He goes up and he records. He's like, oh yeah, I made a 5 there. Then I go, he's all rep. And they said like 2 holes later, Doug finally, like the guy calmed down and he's like, hey, I hate to do this. We got to talk about something. The kid just looked at him and goes, "Is this about the tree?"
You asking me about the tree a couple holes ago when I did a little bit of landscaping over there? Is that what you're asking me about right now?
And Doug was like, "Yeah." The kid's like, "Just penalize me, whatever it is." You
asking me about the tree? I'm sorry.
What's
about all
the
that.
official rule on like if you're like standing in a high brushy like whatever what's like viney area and you just take like a couple of, are you allowed to even do it? You're not even allowed to just see what your backswing would look like.
You can't improve your lie.
You can't improve your lie, but you are allowed to build a stance, and you're allowed to. Like you can't clear stuff out, Dan, but you are allowed to do the soft, like you can like see if you could take the club back.
Yeah, you can see it, but you can't like whip it back so that you break the branch off that's right behind you and be like, "Oh, I was just taking a practice swing." So there's it's a gray. I will say there was someone in
that's a tough area to like argue with someone of like, "Oh, like you went too far back into the branch and two of them fell down. That's a penalty."
Yeah, no, it's hard. And I don't want to violate my NDA here, but I believe there was a scenario in the queue where there was some rules situation and one of the guys was just like, "Just DQ me. Like, just DQ me."
Whoa.
Yeah,
was it about branches?
Spicy.
I don't know exactly what it was about. I just remember hearing that in the porch, on the beers after the round, and the guy was like, "Just DQ me," and then they didn't DQ him, obviously.
Yeah.
That's spicy.
That is
that
tough.
is a good, I think you probably, like when you're playing with your buddies, you can err on the side of like, you could test it when you're playing in a tournament. I think you got to err on the side of like, if you do change or improve the lie, then you're going to get penalized for improving the lie, right, Dan? Like, even if you're like,
yeah,
I was just kind of seeing, it's like, what are you going to, sorry, you can't do that.
I had a ball that on the second hole or the third hole, the ball was in like the wood chips on the left side and it was on top of like a log, basically. The ball had finished on top of the log and I couldn't move the log because if I moved the log, then the ball would move. So I tried to punch it out to the fairway and it went like 5 feet. Just like sucks.
That sucks.
Yep.
There's no fun about it.
I think if time machines ever become as common as like getting into an elevator, a thorough edit of all of the past golf majors would be an interesting project for somebody where they're just like, you go back in a time machine and you're just checking on every champion, checking every spot, every ball, just making sure. I bet you would find a lot of inaccuracies.
It turns out Harry Vardon is a dirty cheat.
I really think
especially like what you were saying, Trent, like I think you were going the route that like it didn't matter because it was less money on the table, but I feel like back in the day there was way more corruption and like people had like investments in these golfers, like I'm thinking of the greatest game ever played, like that era of the Brits coming over and like they have like all these big guys and like they can't lose and you're just in like the forest of the golf course. Like, you don't think someone's like doing something to get any advantage of, because that's their life. They have nothing else but golf.
Didn't one of the guys at Presswick tell us the story of something about like gamblers couldn't play without a caddy because they would cheat? They would kick their balls back into the fairway, something like that.
The original Open. Yeah, the pros, because the original Opens, like the first or second, whatever, I'm talking like these old Tom Morris days.
Yeah.
Like people that bet on these golfers, when their opponent would hit it into the fairway, the fans and the people in the crowd would literally just go over to the ball and just like throw it into the shit.
Right.
and like there was no control over any of this stuff. Like there was no stanchions. There was no, I don't know why like our brains got to a point where we're like, oh, let's put up rope and like fences. Like I don't going back in time and like their like way of thinking always just amazes me. Like how we've improved everything as time has gone on. But like, how did they not think like,
we kind of
have because it's
it kind of
1600 like
we kind of did and kind of didn't. We kind of made it worse too. Like all the like official this and like replay for if something's a millimeter offside, it's almost better than it used to be. Fucking like the wild.
It's just funny that like they couldn't even conceptualize like just like keeping people off the fairway with like some sort of structure. They're like, we need 200 more years of brain development to understand that. That sometimes like drives me crazy just thinking about that. Like, but hockey's like, we don't need helmets. It's like, you just needed like 20 more years to figure out that you actually do. Like, what happened in the world that you just needed to know that? How did no one be like, we need to wear a helmet? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
They used to do crazy matches where like old Tom Morris and young Tom Morris would go across the bay to like North Barrack or wherever and play an insanely heated match for a lot of money in front of like thousands of people. And those matches were nuts. And I think he was the Pressman guy was telling us, I think in the early Open Championships, that the pros had to play with either a caddy that was assigned or a rules official that was assigned, because the pros were all considered like sketchy gamblers.
Yeah.
And the amateurs were considered like high class, like gentlemanly men of honor that would never cheat. So yeah, some really, really sketchy shit had to have gone on back in the day.
Over under 1985 as the last year that someone blatantly, purposefully cheated and got away with it to win a tournament. To win a tournament.
I want to say over.
So you think it's happened more recently?
Absolutely. That's fucking
backside of a green, huge mound. Someone just drops a ball, something. It's just way too easy, man. It's just too easy when there's no eyes on you out there for these guys that have everything on the line. Like that pressure and that demand to win just overtakes all thought. I feel like at that point,
an early morning tea time, no TVs, no gallery, nothing, just out.
The only thing that's stopping the majority, not the majority, but like the minority of people that would do this now is like forever damnation, because they know that there is nowhere to go. Like, I don't think it's the fact that they have this like better than thou feeling about it. I think like if you polled 2,000 professional golfers and you said you could get away with it, I wonder if it was anonymous, some people would be like, I would do it. I'm sure.
Like if you did it back in the day, if you did it in Scotland, you could just go to Ireland and people would have no idea what happened. They would just be like, oh, this is a whole new life. Now you will get shamed so bad that you won't be able to play golf anywhere ever again.
Patrick Reed, just for asking questions, like has the worst fucking like reputation of all time. Just being like, I think this is in a hole, and they're like, no, it's not. You're trying to cheat. It's like, all right.
I was gonna say, like, Patrick Reed has pretty much done this, right? I mean, this is, like, in the last 6 years,
he's done some scooping. He's had some embedded balls. You know, he's.
Well, do you remember the one? I kind of forgot about this last year because it kind of got swallowed up by T-Gate. Remember when he flicked the tee at Rory McIlroy?
Yeah,
that was the beginning of last year. But there was in that event, Rory beat him down the stretch. And there's a clip where his ball like goes into a tree. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And he claims that he was able to identify his ball in the tree when the video kind of showed it going into a different tree. And he said, without question, that's my ball. And he got a drop, and he ended up losing in the playoffs. So maybe it happened.
If Patrick Reed were born 300 years ago, he would have 25 majors. He would be the gold standard of major winners.
He won every time.
We like only think of golf in these competitions of like pretty friendly and like you're out with your buddies, or like the guys on tour are all pretty respectful of each other. Like, imagine you're in some intense match against a guy that you fucking hate, and like, you know, your ball went over here, but you just can't find it. You don't think half of the people that have ever played golf would be like, if I could come up with something just to beat this fucker, because this like, you convince yourself of shit in those moments, and it's not just all buddy. Like, obviously if you do that against your friends or something, then I think way less people would do it because it's friendly and it's generally, but dude, competition, the heat of competition. I mean, every other sport in the world, every player is trying to cheat on every play to gain an advantage. And so to think that some people wouldn't do it or haven't done it in huge moments over the history of golf, like we said, would be just as unlikely as aliens. Like, people clearly do that shit.
Talking rules, when the fuck and about golf, when the fuck are we changing the ball goes into a divot? I know we've talked about this a lot, but the ball goes into a divot in the fairway. You can't pull it out. When the fuck are we changing that rule? Because that happened to me the other day. I pulled it out. We were at Pebble Beach, and a ball in the middle of the fairway was just in a divot, and everyone in the group's like, pull it out. It's fucking insane. When are we making that ground under repair? I mean, come on. Why can't we just say simply every single ball in the fairway, regardless of what's underneath it, can just be moved within a foot? Why does it matter? You're not gaining any fucking advantage. You're in the fairway. You're in a flat piece of like protected land on the golf course. Why can't you just move it a foot no closer to the hole?
Danny?
Why? I just feel like it's, there's supposed to be some chaos in the game. Like,
not in the fairway. There's chaos everywhere. You know how hard this game is?
Oh, it's so hard.
I mean,
you literally have sand in the middle of the grass so that you like can't move the ball.
Get rid of them.
Like, I think there's going to be adversity that you're going to have to overcome. I don't know.
But
Xander
some
Schauffele
asshole can just like dig into the earth right before you because like he chunked a shot, and like the divot's outrageously bad, and your ball that you piped right down the middle can just be right in the middle of the fairway.
Should they be able to place any ball in the fairway, or is it only?
I think that there should be a blanket rule that it could be like a lift, clean, and place in the fairway.
So then you get rid of all sort of lies in the fairway.
But it's in the fairway.
Well, if you're on like if it's hilly, you know what I mean. You can't move it from the
you
spot.
still have to like place. You still have to place it within.
But you can't change your stance. Is what you're saying.
Figure out an inches, 6 inches, a club length, a club head length. It's not going to move it that much further.
I've kind of changed my tune on this too, and I think because like when you play lift clean in place when it's wet, and a lot of people like you play that, you can gain advantages only moving the foot and like the ball foot, and we had one playing on whatever it was like Sunday in our Spanish Bay match where someone's ball was maybe half an inch from the rough up by the green, but it was up against the collar. And it was a very brutal shot. Like, I don't know how you're going to get a club on that. People scuff it, whatever. Was able to move it because of lift cleat in place, like 2 feet over to the right, and just had a clear putt on the fringe now, which is a totally different shot. And that's considered fairway because that's right. It's like the fringe part that kind of runs up to the green is just considered fairway. And another one is if someone, I know only a foot doesn't seem that much, but like you could have a situation where it goes like this to this, and you go from having like kind of a weird side hill lie to just a flat lie in the fairway. And that does change things. I know it's fucking so stupid and golf's dumb about that shit. But if like one of the fundamental parts of the game is you got to play the ball as it lies, except like in the fairway where you get to just put it wherever you want. I do kind of see it fucking sucks. It absolutely sucks when it happens. And I think most friend groups, it's totally different. Most friend groups could just say like, dude, we're playing it up in our fairway. You can just do that anyways because you usually play a match play. And I think that almost everyone that plays professional golf doesn't really care about the rule. It feels like they're like, yeah, that's just kind of part of the deal sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's like one of the things where I'm all for it in like a casual game, like when you're playing with your friends. Like maybe there could be some sort of local rule about it, but there is something about playing the ball down that is just, you know, I'm a nerd. I'm a real golf traditionalist, but ball down, ball in hole, baby. That's how they've been doing it forever.
Ball down is being affected by people that are playing beside you. It's like it's not the way the game is actually supposed to be. It's you versus the golf course, not you versus the guy who played 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, but the golf courses are not. Otherwise, you just carry around a piece of turf and just, you know, put it on top whenever you want. Like that's part of it, in my opinion. We have a disagreement. It's okay.
Yeah, no, it's been a long debate.
I guess we are. Yeah. I'm arguing because I'm with you, Frankie, but I'm arguing. I'm not like, am I arguing for PGA Tour players? Like, I don't care where they hit it. Like, if they.
No, it's just like the rule. It's like they even have to have the conversation of like, it almost feels dirty where you're like, I obviously am going to pull this out, right? Like, I looked at everyone. I'm like, I'm pulling this out. I hit this ball 310 yards down the middle. I'm pulling this thing out. I'm not, I mean, who knows who took that divot before me? It was like Mango, whatever he did.
I played 2 rounds with Lurch this weekend. He was digging holes in Monterey.
Dude, this ball, the divot on either side, the grass, the ball was beneath like sea level. It was fucking crazy.
It's actually, I would say it's a good test of who you're playing with. Because anybody I play with, if they want to pull it out of a divot, fine. I want to do that too. And if they say no, then I'm like, that guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
Has it ever affected someone like winning a major championship? I'm trying like, no.
Definitely. I mean, there's definitely, I mean, maybe not like there's not maybe a famous example like on the 72nd
Someone
hole,
hit one out of a divot recently, like a couple years, within the last couple of years. And it was like the most impressive. Who was it? Was it JT or someone like hit one out of a divot? And it was like, are you fucking kidding me? He hit it onto the green and like won. Who the fuck was that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But no, it definitely comes into play. 100%.
Because all these guys,
it's always dramatic.
They're all hitting it to the same spot.
Yeah, they all hit into the same spot. It
was really interesting when I went to Kapalua this year, because that course is so hilly. The balls tend to all go to the same spot in the fairway, and so on every single hole, and you'll see this usually like maybe one hole per week. They'll tarp off a certain area for the practice rounds because they know that there's just going to be a crazy amount of golf shots. Mm-hmm. But at Kapalua, they had every single hole. There was one area, like the corner of the fairway where all the balls were, where they just had a tarp over it because they were so concerned with guys chopping it up in the practice round.
Well, that's also stupid because then, like, you can't really practice that shot in the practice round where everyone's going to be the whole week in the tournament. So you're like, that's kind of dumb. It is, like, intuitively, it's fucking so stupid because maybe the hardest thing in the world to do is to hit a golf ball between like 250 and 350 yards in this little strip of grass, and you've done the thing. Like, you shouldn't then have the worst lie you can have. Like, you've done the thing. And I think everybody feels horrific when somebody pipe the drive and you're like, dude, great swing. You get up there and the ball's in the middle of a fucking divot. But I think for the most part, 99% of people playing the way that they play recreational golf are like, yeah, dude, we're rolling them in the fairways all day and nobody has an issue with it. I just think like on the tour, that does get a little bit, I don't know. For whatever reason, I don't feel like they should really change it on tour. I'm like, yeah, that's
then you're able to
change.
You're able to change your path to the hole once you're on the green. You're allowed to like affect the green and like walk up on your path from your ball to hole and like fix little markings and fix your own your own ball mark that you made. Like it's just weird that in the fairway you're just not rewarded as much as like you're gonna end up improving something about your lie or your path to the hole at some point that hole. Why can't you do that in the fairway? I don't know. It's just similar to like how we're able to mark our ball and move it to like a little more of an inch on the green, but if you do if the ball rotates a millimeter,
you're not. That's the thing is like you're not allowed to move your ball at all on the green. It's like like you're supposed to, like Lexi Thompson got in trouble for that, for moving it, and it was like an inch away. She moved it front side, whatever the hell it was. She got like a fucking 2 or 3 stroke penalty for that whole thing. So like you're not allowed to move your ball, but you're right. You are allowed to change imperfections in the green. So
right.
Yeah.
If they changed it would open up the possibility of people getting really loose with the rule. You know what I mean? I guess they'd have to make it where you could place it wherever you want, because trying to determine with these guys what's a divot and what's not a divot would be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah,
there would be Patrick Reed would love to see
you'd
divots.
claim you're in a fucking imperfection in the fairway every single shot. I mean, you would just move it.
Right.
But yeah, I think if you just did a blanket like 1 foot or whatever it is, that'd probably be the most fair way to do it. You wouldn't have that many instances where you could improve your live, but you definitely could in some instances. So
yeah,
but I think everyone would do it. That's the thing, is like it would be improving your live, because if you gave the guys the opportunity to do it, they would pick the ball up, they would clean it, and they would place it exactly how they want it down every single time.
Yeah. Instead of just fucking playing it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We got closest to the pin action to do, and then we got to get the hell out of here. Closest to the pin, brought to you by Fireball Whiskey. Fireball's iconic cinnamon flavor tastes fire, true, and goes down easy, making it the ultimate crowd pleaser. Fireball is the birdie shot of golf, the number one shot in the U.S. The Fireball 50 milliliter shooters, they're literally the perfect shot for the golf course. Sneak a bunch in your bag, maybe. Not that we're promoting that, but we might be promoting that. They're ready to go whenever you need them. You could grab them from the beverage cart, maybe, and then sneak them into your bag. That might be the more diplomatic way to do it. Plus, no shot glass needed, no chaser needed. You just crack it, knock it back. You're good to go. If you're really feeling like upping the ante on the course this week or this weekend, make sure to grab the new Fireball Birdie Shot Club. It is literally a golf club filled with Fireball nips. I believe Trent Ryan has the closest to the pin questions for this week, and we got to get a little scoreboard update from Alex Bush.
I do have the questions. Do you want to do the update first? Okay.
Yeah, so only 2 of them last week have finished. So the first one was Anthony Kim's finishing place at Live Jeddah. He was 53rd. And the closest was...
Yes, because someone pulled out, right? Someone withdrew.
Yeah, someone withdrew.
Someone got DQ'd.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the closest was Dan at 44. Riggs and I both had 43, really close. So that one was Dan. And then the last one was total goals scored in the Manchester Derby on Sunday, 4 goals. So Riggs and Trent both took that one.
Oh, Man United scored first, for the record. Alex and I were pretty stoked before we went and played our practice round.
Double points? We got that spot on?
Yeah.
I believe that's
that'll
double
be double
points.
points.
Wow.
Yep.
Trent Ryan.
So Trent and Riggs got 2 there. So right now we have first place Trent 15, second Dan and Riggs at 14, Frank at 6, myself at 4.
Come on, boys.
All right.
Bored.
Come on, boys.
All right. First one for me, questions. Bay Hill, Arnold Palmer this weekend. How many birdies will Hideki Matsuyama have on Friday? And I didn't do any research. I did nothing. So I don't have any historical data for you. So it's going to be a lot of shots in the dark. How many birdies will Hideki Matsuyama have on Friday?
Hard golf course, historically. That's a little bit of context.
There you go.
Very hard golf course. Did you guys see the guy who won the Argentina Open in the Corn Ferry Tour? He said,
Tell me he cheated.
he said like Viva Argentina. Like he said no hablo español, pero like Viva Argentina, and the crowd went nuts. Tell me Hideki couldn't have done that at the Masters. Just give him like a...
Wow, you're really
No,
You're
cut
language
that.
shaming Hideki
Cut that,
Matsuyama
cut
right now?
that,
Is
cut
that what we're
that.
doing?
Actually, cut that. No, cut that. Cut that.
We don't cut. We're not cutting that. Keep that in.
I just thought it was a nice gesture from the guy who won the Argentina Open.
It is a nice gesture. I don't know that it deserved a shot at Hideki Matsuyama there.
Are we all in here?
Yep, we're all in. So Danny Rapp, Trent, myself, all 4.
Okay.
Frankie 5, Riggs 6.
Okay.
6 birdies at Bay Hill. Let's see it, Hideki.
Come on, Hideki. Well, my issue was I was going to say 5 or 4, and then I was like, I think everyone's going to say 5 or 4, so I might as well just go crazy the other way.
All right. Second one. I'm still on the Anthony Kim thing. The juice is gone, but I am still interested in it. They're in Hong Kong, live this week. What will Anthony Kim shoot? What will be his combined score Friday, Saturday in Hong Kong? So 2 rounds. The first 2 rounds, what will be his combined score?
To par.
No, the number.
Oh, wow. Okay. How about this course is 6,700 yards? You guys see that?
Yeah, no drivers. Kind of wild he didn't play like a mini tour event or something. He just went right back to the major leagues.
Kind of wild that not all of us said he was going to finish last.
Dude, also, I think I don't think he's been paying attention to golf for the last 4 years because he tried to drop. First of all, he was looking for a ball for like 7 minutes, and then they told him that the rule was 3 minutes, and he seemed to have no clue. And then he also dropped the ball from his shoulder. He dropped the ball from his shoulder, and the rules official had to be like, you got to do that from your knee. I think he's had no clue. What's
It's funny. He's like you're like thawing a caveman.
Yeah,
like come out and play golf. He's like, what's changed? What are the rules? What's
Him
society
dropping on the
like?
shoulder is hilarious.
Well, he had no clue.
Are we all in here?
Yep, we're all in.
Okay.
Danny Rapp, 145. Trent, 152.
Ooh,
Riggs, 143. Alex, 152. Frankie, 142.
I mean, I think
if he shoots 152 on this golf course, they're still going to. He just gets to keep playing.
Yeah, he gets to keep playing. That's a good experiment. I actually like it. I was nervous about the Anthony Kim thing for all the reasons we talked about, where now the mystique is gone and we know he's just going to fire a 76. But now I want to see it go. Listen, I want him to do well, I guess. But if he's going to do poorly, I want him to do really poorly. And then to be like, holy shit, man, this is wild. So
yeah, it is the best storyline if he plays horrific.
And he's like, they gave me millions of dollars to do this, to come play horribly on these golf courses. All right, third one. Big Ten Championship starting up for the women's basketball. How many points will Caitlin Clark, greatest to do it, like one of the most entertaining people to watch play a sport in a long time. If you haven't watched any games, check it out. I know the ratings in any game she plays are insane. How many points will Caitlin Clark score in the opening round of the Big Ten Championship on Friday? There's no opponent yet. They still have to do all that, but it's either going to be Wisconsin or Penn State. But basically, how many points is Caitlin Clark going to score on Friday?
What does she average?
Let me look. It's got to be low 30s.
She leads the nation with 32.7 points per game.
Yeah. So, but she can also go off. She can go crazy. She scored 49 points in a game earlier this year, and it's a Big Ten championship. She might want to blow these teams out. Like, who knows?
That last little comment by Trent got me.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Got me too.
Yeah, they could be up 50, right?
True.
Are they they're a top 10 team? They're a top 5 team?
Yeah. Yes. They're very good.
Okay. Danny Rapstar, 29. Frankie, 37. Alex, 44.
Wow.
Trent, 38. Riggs, 41.
Okay.
Go. I got 29 to 37. I got to get a point.
That's a good.
That's a good sweet spot for you.
That's a dream picture right there for you. Fuck.
All right. This last one, I'm curious to see how this goes, and because it's about a person in this group, and they're going to have to tell us their schedule. Basically, it's what will Riggs's whoop recovery percentage be on Sunday, March 10th. So you
got to make sure it's charged. That's key.
All right, so charge it, and then you have to be transparent with us right now about, are you going out? Do you have plans? Are you going to be drinking? Are you going to be hanging out? But you can't control this. Like, if he goes out drinking, it'll be low, but you still don't know what it's going to be. And if you don't go out drinking, it could be anything from 1 to 100.
So I will say, I've got 3 guys that are staying at the house at Pinehurst this weekend. Our great friend Mike Essie, our great friend Eric from J Bespoke, and his buddy Jordan, who you guys don't know. More of we're going to play golf Saturday. We're going to have dinner, but we'll get a good amount of sleep, but we'll definitely day drink throughout the entire day. And we'll get a decent amount of sleep. We're not getting up at a crazy hour on Sunday. So I will say it will be low because there'll be a good amount of boozing on Saturday, but I imagine we'll be tucked into bed before midnight and we'll get a good amount of sleep. is what
Okay.
I'll say.
That's what I was looking for, and that's very
Yeah.
honest. We appreciate that. So yeah, what will Riggs's whoop recovery percentage be Sunday morning?
I know people might think I have control over this, but I really don't.
You really
If
don't.
No,
There's a lot of factors that go into it.
You know, we talk about how drinking could just crush it. But last night I had 2 beers at dinner at the brewery with our friend Nick, and I had 85% recovery today.
Yeah.
So it's like you can.
All right, are we all in here?
All right, I think we're all in. Just Alex.
Yep, sorry. Okay. So Danny, 31. Frankie, 27. Trent, 18. Riggs, 31.
Wow.
Myself,
man.
49.
God damn it,
Wow.
Riggs.
I
Nobody
know that's
really predicting a nice clean wake up for you.
no way.
I guess
There's
Our
impossible.
30s isn't so bad.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I'm the lowest. I'm at 18. I may be like Venmo and Essie for shots to get you guys drinking.
Yeah, you could really finagle it.
That won't be. I think you have a lot more control in that regard than I do. Like I have no control over this. You have a lot of control over it.
Right. Yeah, so that's closest to the pin.
All
for
right.
This week.
All right. We are locked in. Swag Golf, baby. They got one of the hottest drops in golf. They've got gear that sells out in minutes, head covers, putters, accessories, apparel. If you're not familiar with Swag Golf, make sure that you go follow them. You go to their website, swaggolf.com. You can check out what's coming. They're also on, all the social media sites, apps at Swag Golf Co. They've got head covers that, I mean, if you roll up to a course, set your bag down by the practice screen, go into the shop real quick to grab a snack, and you've got a Swag Golf head cover on there, it might get snagged because these things are so hot. People want them so badly they cannot get them anytime. I mean, we say this with our Barstool Classic signage from years past, that people, when we put our stuff out at night in a neighborhood and they come out the next morning to host the event, some of our stuff would be missing because we made such good stuff. Our team, marketing team, our design teams, all them made such good stuff that people wanted to legitimately snag it. Swag Golf is that times a million. They're made in the USA. They've just got really, really hot drops in the world of golf.
Hot drops, high quality head covers. I've got one on my 3-wood and my putter. It's like the stitching is crazy. It's got that new leather smell. It's like an item. It's something that you want to have. It's a showstopper. People are going to ask you about your head covers.
Also, a really cool thing about golf is you get to accessorize your clubs, obviously your outfits, but like you're accessorizing your bag and your clubs is a really cool part of golf. And like it shows your personality, it shows what you find cool, your taste in things. And Swag has so many different, they have movie references and they've got all these different types of things on their website. It's a really, really just awesome way to be able to just make your golf bag cool.
The next drop, when you want to make your golf bag cool, is happening today, March 7th at 12 p.m. Central. It's 1 Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, and it's an entire drop dedicated to the man, the myth, the legend of golf himself, the king, Arnold Palmer. It's Arnold Palmer Invitation Week, Arnold Palmer Invitational Week, a PI. It is Bay Hill, and they will be doing today, March 7th, as you're listening, 12 p.m. Central. You go to swaggolf.com. That is swaggolf.com. Check out what's coming out in the new drop. And if you missed out on today's drop, do not worry. There are a ton of other drops planned throughout the year. The best way to stay up to date on drops with Swag is to follow at Swag Golf Co. on Instagram and all other socials. So be ready. Visit swaggolf.co and follow them on Instagram and all other socials at Swag Golf Co. All right, I'm excited to watch Full Swing. I'm very excited to watch Full Swing.
Yes.
I think that's kind of my next move for the next 4 or 5 days. Bay Hill. I doubt it'll be that exciting. Hopefully it will be. Anybody have anything else? Anything pressing I need to get off their chest?
I'm gonna go see Dune 2, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, I
maybe
need to
tonight
see
or
that.
tomorrow. I really liked the first one. I thought that was fun.
I'm going to watch the first one tonight. I haven't seen either one of them because I was hesitant, and I was talking about this in the office the other day. I don't. The big worm seemed like a big focal point of the ads and stuff, but apparently that's not a big part of it. I can't do bugs like that. Big bugs, creepy bugs, big worms, but apparently it's not that big of a deal in the movie. So I'm going to watch the first one tonight, and then I'm sure I'll go see the second one soon.
I am taking a week off of golf after the Q, not because of performance good or bad. Just I played so much golf leading up to it. I was like practicing and stuff. So I'm giving myself a little bit of a break.
Okay.
And it's going to be a nice, lovely weekend.
Beautiful.
A break goes a long way in golf. I mean, I know that sounds probably annoying to some people. When you play sometimes in the stretches as much as we play, take a week or two off from golf, you come back, it's fresh, your swing feels different. It's nice.
Well, yesterday I filmed at the Barstool Classic with Luke Kwan and Sean Walsh, and we played a drinking game that was just, when I look back at the premise, just an outrageous premise.
What was it?
We played, if you make a bogey, you have to drink a Truly, just any bogey.
Okay.
And if you make a birdie, you get to assign a Truly to someone else.
Wow.
Okay.
So it was basically play well, because if you
Drink it.
you,
What was there how much time did you have to drink it?
until you had a log of Trulies that you had to eventually clear.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you made a bogey and someone else made a birdie, you could get doubled up on one hole pretty
Right.
easily.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was
Barstool Classic was great. I thought
Really
it was
good.
the first,
Awesome.
really
yeah,
good
really
first
good. That golf course is sick.
Caledonia.
Cool.
Caledonia. It's really good. So, I mean, I think everyone's gonna be super excited going into if you got into the Barstool Classic and your stop is coming up, just get jacked up. Make sure you submit. I know Justin Mancini and Taylor Ray are going to be sending out emails to send in your walk up music on the first hole. Whoever's going to be there is going to be playing your song, and people were loving it, just getting a feel. It's funny to hear
So good.
what people like to play. It almost was like a personality test.
It absolutely
to see
is.
to see who's who and what your taste is and what do you like to listen to. And we played this music throughout their whole swing. So it was guys were really vibing, and some guys were swinging a little too fast because they'd play something a little bit more upbeat. And they were like, holy shit, I did not think I was going to get that hyped up for that. And some guys would play a slow song, and it was fun. It was really, really fun to see all the types of music, because music's a big part of my life. I know all of us like to listen to music, and to be able to play 120 different songs for 120 or however many guys are in the field, it was awesome to see just this guy likes this type of music. One guy picked the fucking Foo Fighters, Stacked Actors. I was I gave him a hug.
Yeah, you were fired up about that one. I've never even heard of that song.
I will say that
yeah.
Overall, yesterday was about as good of a Barstool Classic qualifier we've ever had. The vibes were great. The crew of players
Immaculate.
were all in fantastic moods. Everybody was into it. They're having a great time, whether they played fucking horrible or played great. Caledonia staff that place is so sick. That little bar around 18, the patio, the golf course, it was 65 and sunny the whole day. It was just, our staff did a great job gearing up. Our new signage and all that, we kind of see it on slide decks and whatnot leading up to it, but to see it in real life, the tee backs and all that stuff, look
So good.
so clean. It's such a professional feel when people roll up.
The signage, that was something. Luke and Sean were blown away by the signage.
Yeah, it's
better than a
it's
PGA Tour
amazing.
event.
It's
wild.
really good signage. Really good signage.
Dude, it's crazy how good it is. Our boy Hopper Nation, Ryan from CSM, they just absolutely crushed it with getting all that stuff ready. So yeah, awesome start to the entire thing. And I think people should be pretty hyped up for all the Barstool Classic stops coming up. Yeah, the first one at Myrtle went absolutely flawlessly. So all right, I think that's all that I have. Enjoy the weekend.
BarstoolPickleball.com. If you're a female, maybe last second get in there. I think we rearranged a lot of the divisions so that all the guys can get in. But if you're a female, you want to get in, we're going to be there all week. Come on, baby, let's go. Let's play some pickleball. Barstool-pickleball.com. Check it out. If you haven't gotten in yet, make sure you get in. We're going to make a final push here for all the rest of the stops. If you're a pickleball player, make sure you're signing up. Barstool-pickleball.com. That's the last thing I got.
I like it. Have a great weekend. We'll see you at the Players Championship. Get ready for all that merchandise in that tent. One of the biggest weeks of the year, the biggest week on the PGA Tour. So let's get some juice going. Have a great weekend, everyone. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.